on developments in Bangladesh and its impact on northeastern state of Tripura in India. And joining me now, Mr. Sanjay Bhattacharya, to talk about developments in Bangladesh. Mr. Bhattacharya is a former Indian ambassador to Switzerland, Turkey and Egypt. Ambassador, welcome to DD India News Hour. First off, is law and order returning to Bangladesh? What is your assessment?
I think this will be a slow process because what we saw, particularly after Sheikh Hasina left Dhaka, the new surge of violence that came about was one in which many of the security forces did not play a dominant role in trying to quell them at the outset. As a result, many of these forces, mainly supported by fundamentalist forces and not really those of the students, gained the upper hand. And this is something that has been more widespread in the last few days, particularly even after Yunus took over as the chief advisor. So I think although Yunus is trying valiantly to try and curb the situation, this is going to be an uphill task.
Ambassador, for the benefit of viewers joining us from around the world, who is attacking the minorities in general and Hindus in particular, and why?
Well, the history of that part of the world is well known. We've had communal clashes in 1946-47 at the time of independence. Even when it was East Pakistan, there were communal clashes. In 71, when Bangladesh was liberated, there were communal clashes. And even after that, there were several instances in which particular communities, minorities were attacked. The ones behind these were essentially the fundamentalist Jamaat and many of its affiliates. They are the ones who had always called for an Islamic state, for Islam to be at the fore, and they did not like the presence of a secular community, which is what Bangladesh had sought to be. So they are the ones who are behind it. I would not assign any blame on communities like that of the students.
Fair enough. The chief advisor, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, is likely to meet with the Hindu community sometime today, we are told. Do you think it will calm fears?
I think it will be an important meeting. As you would recall, Prime Minister in his message to Muhammad Yunus had mentioned about the need to maintain calm and protect the minorities. Most recently, the United Nations Secretary General also referred to it in his statement yesterday, that there was need to look after the minorities. And since this is a situation which has gone a little out of control, the minorities actually had to come out on the streets and stage a protest saying Bangladesh is their motherland and they intend to stay there. It becomes imperative on the state to take care of its citizens. So the initiative of Yunus to speak with the Hindu community and the Hindu students, I think, is a good step. But what we do also hope is that those who are behind these instances and who are in some way affiliated with the elements that are also part of the establishment today would be taken to task so that they realize that the rule of order, the rule of law must prevail and that minorities should not be affected. The eyes of the world are on Bangladesh today, and if it fails this test, it would be miserable.
Indeed, as you say, the eyes of the world are on Bangladesh, but what should India do, Ambassador, if things don't improve?
Well, I think we should allow Bangladesh, and it has shown itself to be a mature democracy, particularly over the last couple of decades. We've seen how democracy has flourished, the economy has done well. So we should have reason to believe that the people of Bangladesh and its administration, even though it's an interim administration at present, will deal with the situation effectively. And we could lend our support to the administration to take care of the problems that it has. I don't think this should be seen as India's problem. It is Bangladesh's problem, but we should always, because Bangladesh is our closest neighbor, we should always extend a helping hand if it so needs.
Okay, Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor says Sheikh Hasina's stay in India will not impact the bilateral ties. Will you take him at face value?
I would say that Sheikh Hasina had to leave her homeland under a rather adverse situation, and it is not usual for a prime minister to have to leave one's country. But that was the situation over there. I think if they do not prepare the country sufficiently for her to return, she will have to stay overseas. And where she stays overseas will partly be her choice and partly the acceptance of the country that she is in. So I think at this point of time, the Bangladesh administration should really focus on improving the situation so that the political leaders who've had to leave are confident that the environment is safe enough for them to return. And I think Bangladesh should work towards that.
Ambassador Bhattacharya, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts